Don't use Google Chrome, rather create your own with just 40 lines of Python. This is super easy, super fun and super crazy. So let's get started. Before getting into the detail, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Otherwise, grandma will come to your house and eat all the cookies in your browser. To start with this project, you will definitely need to have a Python installed in your computer, and we would be using a Python code editor called PyCharm. And once this PyCharm is ready, all you have to do is to click on this new project and then give some fancy name for your project. Here I will be giving name like my cool browser and then press enter. And while PyCharm is starting your projects, let's go back to your favorite Google uncle and then ask Google uncle to find something for you. And you'll be searching pip PyQt5. And Google uncle will tell you to go to this website, and once you go there, you will see a tiny button. Just click on this. That means you'll be using pip install PyQt5. And Qt5 is a very powerful application development package. So we will go back to PyCharm, and once this PyCharm is ready, all you have to do is to press Ctrl A and then backspace and then click on this dude so that you have a big slate to write your code. And then click on this terminal and just press Ctrl V. That means you would be using pip to install PyQt5 package. Press enter, and it will take literally few seconds for the PyCharm to install this PyQt5 for your project. Then all you have to do is to import this package for creating your awesome browser. The very first thing you would be doing is to from a pyqt5.qt widgets, and then you would be importing everything. And once you import everything, the first thing you need to is to create a class. And you will give some name like main window for your class, and then you pass something called q main window and then write some colon. After that, you will press enter. And inside this class, the first thing you will do is to create a constructor, and this constructor is nothing but a function. So I will type like def as if I am writing a function and then underscore, and PyCharm will suggest me to write underscore in it. So I will press enter, and this will create a constructor for this class. I will press enter, and then I will call something called super, and then I will press enter again. And this will create a super connection with our parent class, which is this q main window. If you don't understand up to this part, just ignore this part and we will explain this little later. And after this, all you need to do is to self and then show maximized. And show maximized is that your browser would be the full screen mode. That's it. So you created the very little class. We will add tons of fun functionalities inside it. But for now, we want to see how does it looks. So we'll go here and then we'll create an application that would be Q application. And then you need to pass some system argument. And that's why it is asking for argument v, and all you have to do is to import sys, and you don't need to install it because this is built in Python environment. And here you have to pass sys.argv, and then you can call Q application that hey Q application, I want to give some application name, like set application name, and you can set like a my cool browser or something like this, or Chrome killer, whatever you want to give name, and then create a window. And that window would be your main window class that you just created right here. And the last thing, you need to call the app and then ask it to execute. So you wrote pretty much like 10 lines of code, and if you click on this run button, it will open a browser like window. We don't have like a cool fancy juice here yet, but don't worry, juice is coming, and you would be using Google and everything right in your personal browser, and you don't need to go to Google Chrome and all other places. So all we need to do add like maybe like a 5-6 more lines of code, and that's it. And so we will go back here, and then we will tell, hey, we need to create a browser. So that's why we'll call like a self.browser, and then the value would be some other Qt package. And here we will tell, hey, from PyQt5, I need Qt and then web engine widgets. And if you don't see it, like in some cases, you want to import everything from here, and after typing Qt web engine widgets, still you see some red squiggly line, don't worry, or you can just copy it. And for now, since your browser is not ready, you can still go back to the Google and search for it. Say for example, PyQt5 and then this not available, not found, something like this. And it will take you to some Stack Overflow answer, and then they would be suggesting to install some packages like this, pip install PyQt engine. So you copy this dude and come back here, and in the terminal, all you need to do, paste this dude and press enter. It will take another few seconds for this guy to be installed, and after this installation is done, Qt web engine widgets, this squiggly line would be gone like a magic. And once you have that, here you can create your browser, and here you can tell like, hey, I need Q web engine view here. That means you want to see some web view in this place. And after that, you need to do self.browser, and you need to set URL. And once you want to set URL, it would be asking for URL in the form of QURL. So to use QURL, you need a little bit help from PyQt. So for that purpose, you can type like a from PyQt5 and then Qt core, and then you want to import everything. That's it. Here you would be saying like, okay, I got this QURL, and inside it, all you have to do is to write any website. So you type http and then : google.com. After this, you will need to write just one single line of code, and that would be self, and then set center widget, and that center widget would be your self.browser. And if you just type this guy and then click on this run button, you will see you will have an empty window, and within a few seconds you have a Google. And this is not just an ordinary Google. You can search anything if you want. So for example, you're really curious who will be my Valentine. You can search for something like this, and it will give you the search result. Not only that, you can go to any of this link and you can search anything you want. This is like fully functional Google in your own browser. And all you have to write is like 10-12 lines of code. All you did, create a class, and after the class, you just create a constructor. Inside constructor, you use some web engine, and then you set the URL. It could be any URL. It doesn't have to be Google. It could be YouTube. It could be Facebook. It could be anything else. You can go there and you can set this browser as your center window. Boom, you have a browser. It's a little bit working browser. We will add much more functionalities to it to make it much more practical. But at least with just few lines of code, you got your browser and you can browse, you can see stuff. And how cool is that? So in the part 2, we will add some cool control to our browser. So if you go to some realistic your browser, and which is your old Google Chrome, you will see it has some controls here. That means it has a back button, it has a forward button, maybe it has a reload button, right? So these are super easy, like it's a piece of cake for you. You already have your browser running right here. So that means you can operate it. Now you need some control. And this is called some kind of like a navigation bar or a status bar, something like this for any browser. So we'll go back to the code. Inside here, we will create a navbar. So we'll say like this is our navbar. And for the navbar, you will need to create a variable called navbar. So you'll do this, and this would be Q toolbar. That means you are creating a toolbar, and for this toolbar, you can say like, hey, this class, you need to add some toolbar, and that would be your navbar. So if you just go to this browser right now, there is nothing in between. You see, this is Google, or if you go to like any website, this is the top bar and there is nothing in between. But if you add this navbar, save this guy, stop this dude, and then run it again, you will see there is a small tiny thing, but nothing in it right now. So we'd be adding this back button and some other button here. We can easily do those. And the first thing for the back button, we'll declare a variable that would be back button, and that would be Q action. That means some action has to be done, and the name of the action would be back, and you will pass the reference of this current class. And after that, you will say like, hey, back button, when somebody triggered you, in that case, you need to do some connection with the browser, and that connection would be self.browser, and then you will go to the back side. And if you have this one, and the last thing you need to do is to add this back button with your navbar. So you will type like a navbar.add action, and this action would be back button. So if you look into this, this is just 5 lines of code. You created a navbar and you added it to your browser, which is the class that is like self.add toolbar, and you saw this toolbar is running. This is very tiny, but nothing there. And after that, you said, okay, I need a back button, and that will have a back action. And when somebody triggered, that means click on it, you will connect to the browser back, and eventually you tell navbar to add this action. That's it. So you stop this dude, and then you run this guy. You see there's something back here. Not only this, you can search anything like a Taylor Swift or something like this, Taylor Swift. Here you have some result, but maybe you want to go back to Google again. All you have to do is to click on this tiny back button and you go there. Not only this, you can search for like maybe Rihanna or Ariana Grande, something like this, and you can go to their any news, and you can go to their website, you can go to YouTube, maybe Wikipedia, you can go anywhere, and then from Wikipedia you can go to like any other link this person have, like a videography, doesn't matter. You are going multiple places, and after that you can back, it go one step back. If you click again, it goes another step back. If you click again, it goes to like another step back. That means you already got a very functional back button for your browser. And since you are able to create a back button, you would be able to create a forward button. It's super easy. And for that purpose, we will do exactly the same thing, just a little bit different. So this would be our forward and then button. And this forward button would be a Q action as usual, but the name would be forward, and then we'll pass this current class. And after that, we'll say like the, hey, forward button, you need to do some connection when somebody triggered you. And then you will do the connect, and you would be connecting self.browser.forward. That means you would be going forward. And this is just don't call the function, just write the name of the function. And the last thing you need to do is to navbar, hey, you have to add this action, and this would be your forward button. That's it. So now you stop this dude and then run this guy, you will have a forward button as well. That means if you go some reason go backward, you can come back forward. So this case, maybe we'll look for someone else. For example, we're looking for maybe Blackpink or something like this. And we go to the Blackpink, maybe we listen to this song for some reason, we like this song and we got some ad, and after that maybe we go some other song like this. That means we are going something in forward. And then we go back, that's fine. We go back, we go to Google, we go to the initial one. And if we want to come back, we can forward. That means we search this Blackpink, we went there YouTube, and then we went to some other YouTube videos. That means you can go back and forth. That means 2 core functionalities of a browser is already implemented. This is super fun. And the next button is like similar to this. If you go to like an actual Google Chrome, you will see they have some reload button. Maybe you could have a home button, those kind of thing. So since you are able to create like forward and backward, you would be able to create the reload button. So this would be your reload or refresh, whatever you call the reload button or refresh button. And this would be another Q actions. And then this would be your reload, and you will reference the current class. And after this, as usual, your reload button, somebody triggered it, and then you will connect with the browser. That would be self.browser.reload. That's it. And the last part, you need to tell the navbar, hey navbar, you need to add some action, and that action would be your reload button. So now if you run this guy, you will go there and then you'll see like a reload button. So if you reload it, it's very quick, so you don't see it. Say for example, we go maybe something, maybe we'll go to like Twitter or something like this. We want to go Twitter, and then we go to like tweet, and then in this website, since this is taking a little longer, now if you reload, you'll see this browser is reloading. Or maybe you can go to like anywhere other than Twitter. You can go back as usual, and maybe you find like something here like YouTube and something, and you go to some other YouTube homepage or somewhere else, and then you need to reload this page. For some reason you want to reload it, just click on this. It would be reloading the page. That means refreshing again and again for you. So you got the reload working for you as well. So I'm enjoying it, I'm loving it, and I'm sure you are loving this too. And definitely if you enjoyed up to this point, please write some romantic, fancy, lovely comment for the grandma, and grandma would be super happy to see your name below this video. The next thing is super fun, because in your browser you need a home button, and this is very common among a lot of browsers, because you click on this guy, it will take you to a specific website that you define. So we can create the similar button here, and that would be our home button, and this would be a queue action. So we're creating an action, and this would be our home button, and then we pass this current class. And after this, we'll say like this home button, and you need to do something when somebody triggered it. That means you need to connect, but this time you have to tell specifically where it should go. And for that purpose, we'll define it little bit differently. That means if somebody clicks on this home button, we will take this click to a different method. And that method name we will define little bit. It would be like navigate home, something like this. And after that, we'll tell like as usual, navbar, you need to add some action, and that would be the home button. And right now you don't have anything called like a navigate home, so we will create another method here, and for that purpose we'll define something called navigate_home, and then it would be, if you just press the parenthesis, PyCharm will provide the initial parameter. And after that, you need to define where this navigate home button will take. And you will type like a self.browser. You would be telling the browser, hey, you need to set the URL. And to set the URL, you need to call the queue URL and then pass the URL. So for example, by default, we want to maybe HTTP and then : then google.com, something like this. And it could be like any other website. So first start with like Google. And we click on this guy, we come here, and by default this is Google. We go any website. So for example, we go maybe programming hero, something like this, and it takes us to the programming hero. And after using the programming hero website, we want to go to the home, and for that purpose we click on this guy. It takes us to the home. And if you want to go somewhere else, that means like you want to go to YouTube, you can search for YouTube. If you want to search for maybe anaconda or something like this, you can search for anaconda and find some other fun stuff if you want to. But any point of time you click on this home, it will take you exactly the place that you defined here. Your home could be something else. It could be programminghero.com, something like this. And if you do this, so like I stop this guy, I run this, and now if by default this is Google, but my home is different, so I click on the home, it takes me that website, whatever the website I do. So far we have like some basic functionalities, but the very core functionality of a browser is still missing, and that is you would be able to type some website URL and then you'd be able to go there. So far we can actually go back, forward, reload it, go to the home, but that's not the core functionality of a browser. You will need a text box or somewhere you'd be able to type the name of the website and then you press enter or do something and it will take you to exactly to that website. We need to do that, and that would be the fun part we'll be looking into in the next part. And to do so, we will go to the code editor. We will be adding a search box right here. But we'll be going to the code editor, and then here we would be adding a different things, and that means you need something to edit, and you'd be creating an instant attribute. That means you'd be using like a self.url bar, because you need to use it in some other places as well, and you'd be using q line edit. That means you would be editing stuff in the single line, and after that you will tell the navbar, hey navbar, you need to add some widget, and that widget would be your self.url bar. That's it. So this will show, but it will not do anything right now. So if you stop this guy and you run this and you come here, you see something you can type here like http and then / something you want to type, asdf whatever com, but if you press enter, it doesn't do anything. So you need to add some functionality, hook some functionality with it, and we will be doing it very easily. And the next part is you need to go to this self.url bar and then tell is, hey, if anybody press the return, in that case you need to connect to a specific thing, and that specific thing would be like another thing, because you need to capture whatever is written over there and then call the browser to go. So that's why we will create another method, and that would be self.navigate to URL, something like this. And here, similar to like a navigate home, we'll create a method diff navigate to URL, something like this. And if you just press the parenthesis, it will add the self. Now you need to get the text. Whatever is written there, and that text is written in the URL bar, and that's why we created like an instance attribute so that we can access it from anywhere else. So here you need the URL that is written over there, and that URL you will get self.url bar.text. So if you get the text, this is your URL. The next part is easy. It's exactly similar to this. So you'd be calling the self.browser. Hey, you need to set some URL, and that would be QURL, and pass this URL variable. That's it. So now if you run this guy, and if you have like coded it correctly, and then you can type something here. Say for example here, http and then : twitter.com, and then just press enter. And if you type correctly, you see Twitter is coming. And not only that, just typing here, you can go to YouTube, press enter, it will take you to YouTube. If you miss Mark Zuckerberg, you can go to like, hey, Facebook, don't cry, I'm coming here. If Tim Cook is like missing you, you can just type Apple and then go to Tim Cook, and you will have this browser going like nuts for you. That means you can actually type something, and then you can definitely go to this website. Not only that, your all old functionalities would be working, but with some little hiccup, and we will fix it in the next part. So for example, right now you are seeing Apple, and if you click on this back button, it goes to the previous one, but this guy didn't change. If you press the back button, it goes to the back to YouTube, but this dude didn't change. And if you go back again, it goes to Twitter, but this dude didn't change. So your back, forward, everything works, but this search box is not updating. But this is super easy, and we'll be doing it in our next part. To fix it, you just have to capture some URL change event, and that's it. So what we will do here we will add one extra line. Here we'll say like, hey, self.browser, if your URL is changed, then you need to do some connection, do some work. And that work is to like calling another method, and that would be self.maybe update URL, something like this. So what we are doing is like we are calling the browser, hey, if somehow your URL is changed, you need to connect to this method that we didn't wrote yet. So we'll be writing it right now. And here it will be like a def and the name is update URL. So update URL, and if you press, this will add some parameter, but you need to know which parameter is updated. So you can type like something like an URL or maybe some Q parameter, whatever you want to do, and inside it you need to call the self.url bar, and you want to set text, and that text should be Q. And this is coming as like an string, and but you can be little bit sure and then type like a toString to make sure this is an string. So what all we are doing is that we are telling the browser, hey, if URL changes, you need to go to update URL, and this is your update URL method, and it's taking some parameter and we just converting it to an string, and then it will be set text of the URL bar, and URL bar is nothing but the text box that we are using. So now if we stop this guy and then click on this run button, you'll see by default we have Google, doesn't matter. If we type here Twitter or anything here, it will take us to Twitter. Maybe after that we'll take it to programming hero. We can take you there and it will go to the programming hero, and if you mistype it, it will take you there into the right place, programming hero here. And then you can go anywhere from here. For example, if you want to go back like your gold YouTube or somewhere else, you can go to YouTube. If you want to go back home again, you can go to the home again, doesn't matter. This is your home and you can utilize this. And if you go to the back button right now, you see this is YouTube. So it's updating. If you go back again, it changes to this, and if you go back again, it goes to the masked one. If you go, this goes to the Twitter one. So this URL is updating even if you use the back and forward button. That means we have fixed this problem. So far what we have is we already did some cool things in this our custom browser. We have like a back, forth, those functionalities. We can go anywhere and we can search this and we can visit any website. It could be YouTube, it's any website in this world. And this is like a super powered. So this is a super crazy and super fun and super powerful Python code. You just created your awesome browser with just 40 lines of code. And if you have watched until this much, I definitely recommend you to test whether your browser is working. So for that purpose, you will definitely go to the Google in your browser and search for programming hero. And then once this programming hero is coming, all you need to do, go to this link and then you find the programming hero there. And if you want to use much more fun, you can go back again and then you can go to Google Play Store and find this fancy app and then install it. And also if you want to have much more fun, you can go back and then you can go to our YouTube channel, and if you see a red button here, definitely you need to press this subscribe button so that you are part of our grand family where we have grandma and you. So if you like this video until this point, please like this video, write some fancy romantic lovely comment and subscribe to this channel, and that's way your grandma and I will see you in the next video with some fancy project, fun project just for you.